Hey everybody, welcome back to Wicked Good Sports. I'm joined today to talk a little bit about basketball with my friend Jack in a segment that we're starting to call, we didn't call it this before, at the buzzer. Jack, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, Brian. I appreciate it. I'm a big fan of the at the buzzer nickname. Credit to where that's due, and that's all you, man. So
Hey,
props.
if I may not upload in a timely manner all the time, but I'm always thinking of throwaway names for for segments. So, you know, if you've seen Jack on the channel before, you know that he is our resident NBA expert. And Jack, we have a lot to cover today, right?
Yeah, there's a lot that's gone on the last week or so, honestly, which is kind of insane. It's not super common.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously, let's just get into this. The big story happening right now: Jamal Murray of the Denver Nuggets, torn ACL. He's out, obviously, for the rest of the season. Who knows how long this injury's going to
Right.
go? Especially with basketball, where this is a pretty bad injury to have. I feel like. I mean, can
Yeah.
you kind of walk us through what happened and what the outlook for the Denver Nuggets, who are in fourth in the Western Conference, 34-20, doing quite well. What's going to happen to them, and what are your thoughts, I guess, in the situation as a whole?
Yeah. First and foremost, man, I love Jamal Murray. Right. He and Nikola Jokic over there in Denver have been the heart and soul of that team for the last 2 years, pretty much since he came into the league, really.
Mm,
And the Joker came into his own. Um, he's kind of like the athletic, decent shot making point guard, or not point guard, shooting guard. While you've got Jokic, who literally is like this unicorn in the NBA, who can pass, he can rebound, he can run the point, he can do everything. Um, Part of the glory of that, though, is by having someone like Jamal Murray at his side who's able to make shots when he's getting double covered. When he's having an off night, Jamal can step up and shoot the lights out like nobody's business.
mm,
And of course, everyone remembers the Nuggets from last year. They're kind of like the NBA sweetheart of the playoffs when they
mm,
took out the Clippers after being down. I think it was 3-1, right? So
mm.
in the Western Conference Finals, or not Western Conference Finals, but
To
the
get
series
there,
before that,
yeah,
same
yeah,
stuff.
right, right. Yeah, I mean, so obviously they're fourth in the West. They were set up pretty well. They're probably going to
Hmm.
finish within playoff contention. Would you say, even without Murray, or
Yeah,
do you think they might drop all the way out of it?
I think the rest of the team around them is still too good to drop off that much that quickly. We're more than
Mm,
halfway through the season at this point, and Denver's still, like you said, fourth. In the standings, I don't think that. I think Michael Porter Jr. is going to have to step up. He is kind of boom or bust, though. So if he can start playing at a more consistent level, I think there's still hope for these guys.
mm.
And then there's their new point guard from Italy. I think it's Campazzo. I can't pronounce his name for the life of me, but
I
either
mean,
way,
I'm not good at
he's got some
pronouncing
sweet
names
moves
either,
too. So
so.
if he can step up,
Mm,
he's they'll be in good shape. I think. Obviously, nobody can replace Jamal.
mm.
Though I have heard some rumblings of potentially signing Isaiah Thomas now that his 10-day with the
Hey,
Pelicans
yeah,
has ended. So that could be an
lined up
interesting
well.
addition. But
I mean, as
we'll see what
as
happens.
any
I
Celtics fans, we of course have a soft spot in our heart for Isaiah Thomas, but
I'm
we'll
not
see.
saying that I've watched every Pelicans game since he played, but I've pretty much watched every Pelicans game since
Right,
he's played.
right.
So it is
Yeah,
what
and
it
I
is.
mean, I saw on Twitter last night he after the game was shooting, getting some shots in, trying to stay loose out there. Maybe this could be the move for the Nuggets, but obviously
Hope
just like a
so.
crushing blow for the team and for their fans.
Yeah, man.
You never want to see you never want to see anyone get hurt, obviously, but you especially
No,
as a fan of basketball, you don't want to see a star player get hurt.
no way. And Jamal, he's like a big, big guy for Canadian basketball. He's one of the few Canadian players in the league who is has this much star power. So it really
Mm,
sucks to see him go down for them too.
yeah, incredibly unfortunate. We'll definitely be watching the Nuggets with a close eye to see if hey, maybe they rally around, but I think it's going to be too big of a hole to fill. And while
Right.
they will probably
I
make the
agree.
playoffs, it's fortunate for whoever gets to play them. Whereas before,
Yeah.
like you said last year, the surprised some people. They were a tough out. Probably won't be the case this year. But on from the biggest news for the whole NBA to the big news for people like us, Celtics fans. Celtics, are they back? Winners of 3 straight, Jack.
Yeah, dude, Celtics are looking really good right now. When they played, ironically, the Nuggets last week, Jamal had been out, ironically, nursing a knee injury, which is unfortunate now. But
not great.
Prior, I know, karma. But or rather, he was out, and they still had, Aaron Gordon, who they just got from the Magic, and were a Celtics trade target as well. Mm-hmm. Aaron Gordon, Jokic, Michael Porter Jr. was playing pretty well. Campazzo was playing well. But in the fourth quarter, the defense of Grant Williams and Robert Williams, and really anybody on the floor at that point, but mostly those two guys, the Williams brothers, I guess you could say, really stunned the Nuggets because they only put up 8 points in the fourth quarter, and I haven't seen single digits in a quarter in I don't even know how long. That was a really pitiful performance. They couldn't get anything to fall.
So I guess
sorry. No, you're good. The thing with me is that it was also clear that Jason Tatum was able to command. I don't know if he just heard all the haters the last week or so when everyone, when Perk was telling trade Tatum or get a better attitude, etc. Then he goes out and drops 53 points on him. That's that shuts everybody up a little bit.
That will buy.
And I think that was kind of something he needed to do just to prove his value to the Boston sports media, which can be kind of a nightmare to try to work with.
Kind of. I mean, we're trying not to be on this channel, but the rest of those professionals, suckers, they're a nightmare.
Right. They suck, man. They drive people out of the city, I swear.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. So, on top of that, I believe Jason Tatum was named the Eastern Conference Player of the Week for Week 16. He averaged, of course, helped a lot by that 53-point performance, 31 points during this week, 8.5 rebounds, 3.8 assists, and they went 3-1 during this week. So, I mean, is this kind of indicative of where the Celtics are headed? I know it's been, we've talked about it, it's been a disappointing season. They're just above 500 at 28-26. But in your opinion, do you think that they're going to continue to build on this and become the team that we think they can be, or what's happening here?
So, a couple funny things that I heard today. I was just perusing Twitter. I'm a big fan of Enes Kanter. I think he's a funny dude, and he played for us last year, obviously. So he was fun to watch on the floor. Great rebounder. He got his career high 30 rebounds the other night, which is insane.
So insane.
And he was talking about, or he was in an interview talking about how he thinks the Celtics are still poised to make a deep playoff run, because you have to worry about the volatility of the Nets. And with their bad loss to the Lakers,
we'll get to that.
What does that mean they are? Do they have an identity? Do they have the ability to stand up to teams with a strong front court? So you go from that. You go from Tatum, same thing last year where he kind of didn't really emerge until the second half of the season, which was in January then because that was all pre-COVID. And now we're in the second half of the season, and he's kind of going off, right? And Jaylen Brown really has made a strong push to be that second guy on the team over Kemba. So you go look at that. You see Robert Williams' emergence. You see Grant Williams showing up on defense all the time now, and it's okay, I think these guys are starting to click. I think we haven't had a lot of our actual starting five on the floor together at the same time up until recently, really. And I think up until recently, we haven't been playing our best basketball. But now you see all these guys come back, be healthy. Marcus Smart, Kemba's playing more minutes. And then, this record is going to show, look, we're still a legit contender here. Don't count us out just yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they definitely seem they're talented, right? There's no denying it. They've just been underperforming. So in the playoffs, when it's these series, anything can happen. We talked about the Nuggets last year.
Right.
The Celtics, they could get hot and make a run. I guess let's transition from a team that's struggling to a team that was, doing quite well, 37-17, but big loss from this past week. The Nets lost to the Lakers. And Jack, can you explain why that's a big deal?
Yeah, so normally if you hear that, you wouldn't really bat an eye because you say, oh, great, that's fuel for the finals, right? But in this case, right, I don't feel like that anymore at all because you look at the Lakers roster that was missing Kyle Kuzma. Okay, whatever. He's kind of a reserve guy anyway.
Mhm.
But you're missing Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Were two first-team All-NBA guys last year.
Mhm.
And, like,
Yeah, I hear they're pretty good.
if you lose to that with
Mhm.
Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and the rest of your supporting cast, James Harden was out, whatever. I know that's big, but like it's not big enough when you still have KD and Kyrie in.
Mhm.
You
Lots
lose
of
to
memes
like
about Harden
the
wanting
poor
to be
man's
traded
Anthony
to the
Davis
Lakers.
and Andre Drummond.
Mhm.
What was that? Sorry.
I just said I saw lots of memes about Harden being like, I got to get
Oh my
traded to
God,
the
dude.
Lakers now.
I didn't see those actually. That's totally
man.
quality. That's a smart move. It makes
That
you
would be
wonder
great
though,
for
like
him.
does Andre Drummond? If you watched any of those clips from that game, Marcus Aldridge looked awful. Like, and that's supposed to be their front court presence, and he just looked like he couldn't guard anybody. Like he looked
Right.
pitiful. He looked lost out there, and maybe that's from being sent over to a new team, right, where he hasn't had that much time to get acclimated. But he's had more time to get acclimated than Drummond has, and Drummond put him to sleep. Like it was insane out there. So I think if anything, that goes to show that the Nets have a really big gap in their front court, and if you can just beat them up a little bit in the paint, then it's going to be an easy pass to beat them in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think like you said, a lot of people were thinking, oh, these are the two teams that are probably going to be in the finals. But if that is the case, maybe the Nets are not going to be a compelling matchup. I mean, we have a long way to go. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But
very true. Very
definitely a eye-opening, and people like to say the Western Conference usually is pretty stacked, but I guess we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. So, I mean, I was just going to say we have a lot of unsung teams out there right now still. I think we've talked about it on previous shows with the Utah Jazz, right? Like those guys are so overlooked it's not even funny. And then you look at the 76ers,
they're
who are
40 and
Joel
14 and no one talks about them, including us.
That's what I'm saying. I guess us included, yeah. Like there are a lot of teams out there. Like I haven't seen anything about Giannis in the last 3 weeks, and he's a perennial MVP candidate. So I don't know. I don't know if everybody's just so caught up with the Nets and Lakers or what, man. It's insane.
It is. I think next week we promise you, Jazz fans, if you're watching, we will do a dedicated 5 minutes on the Jazz to give them their due. But yeah, no, like you said, it's all about star power, right? And there are two seemingly super teams, one in the Eastern Conference, one in the Western Conference, that anyone can, as an outside observer, kind of look and play it out and be like, they're on a collision course for the finals.
Right.
But hey, anything can happen, and we'll be covering it all season. Jack, is there anything else you want to bring up before we get on out of here for this segment?
Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to the rest of the season. I think there's going to be some exciting stuff. Really looking forward to see how the Celtics pan out, man, because I think they're on an upward trajectory. I hope I don't have to eat those words, but fingers crossed.
Hey, me too. I mean, bit of a homer, but I believe that they can do something, and I believe that they'll continue to improve as the rest of the season goes on. This has been At the Buzzer. That has been Jack Tiernan. Jack, where can they find you online?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram or Twitter. I'm JC Tiernan on Instagram, and on Twitter, I'm Jack Tiernan. So follow me for some probably terrible Celtics takes. I'm there 24/7.
Yeah, so follow him there. And, of course, on Thursday nights, Jack is a member of our Among Us group. Jack's way more a member than I am. I show up sometimes. So if you like him here, you'll love him on that. We have a lot of fun playing that with Ben as the streamer on the Wicked Good Everything channel, as well as the Twitch. So, until then, and until the next At the Buzzer, we will see you later.
You got it. Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.